Welcome back to another Q&A. So I am highly considering, probably definitely doing it because if you guys have learned anything about me yet, I'm very impulsive, upgrading my PC. Granted, it seems a little bit redundant because I definitely don't play games that are even anywhere near capable of demanding what my PC is currently capable of. But there are certain things about my PC that I don't like, and a lot of quality of life upgrades that would make my life as a content creator much easier as well. So I'll show you guys what's currently in my PC and what I'm currently thinking in terms of upgrades. So my PC back there has a Ryzen 7 3700X. The motherboard is a B450 Tomahawk Max, a 3080 Ti. That is the best component in there. That is the one thing that I will not be upgrading because I do not need to upgrade that. I'm pretty sure I'm not a PC guy. Anyone that's been following me for any length of time knows that I'm more of a sit at home on the console, on the sofa kind of gamer. But I'm pretty sure that my Ryzen 7 3700X is a bottleneck for what my graphics card is capable of. I'm pretty sure that they are a bit of a mismatch in terms of price range, in terms of compatibility. So the biggest reason that I need to upgrade my and it's got 32 gigabytes of RAM and a 1000 watt power supply. I shouldn't need to upgrade my power supply either. I'm pretty sure that will pretty much future-proof me for a while as well. So why do I need to upgrade, you might be asking? So I need to upgrade because there are three things that I don't like about my PC. Thing number one, it hasn't got integrated Bluetooth, which might not be that big of a deal in terms of what you may think. But the amount of things that I have had to plug in that take up slots that otherwise could be used for more helpful things. For example, if I game on PC, I'd like to use a wireless controller. So because I don't have integrated Bluetooth, I have a Microsoft dongle that plugs in. That takes up a USB slot and for some reason doesn't seem foolproof. Sometimes it just drops out the signal and doesn't work sometimes. And the fact that that is even possible, even slightly, bothers me to no end. So instead, I use a wired 360 controller. Whereas if I had a Bluetooth motherboard, I wouldn't need to do that. I could just use a PlayStation 5 controller or an Xbox One controller and it would just all be good. Next up, it doesn't have Wi-Fi. And I know that a lot of you guys are like, you're a hardcore gamer, why is it not Ethernet connected? And it just, with the way that my house is set up, it isn't feasible for me to have my PC be wired. I wished it would be, trust me, but I can't. So, wireless it is. But obviously it doesn't have a Wi-Fi thing, which means I've got these weird adapter plug things to fake it, and it ended up working, but it is still a weird workaround that I've done that I wouldn't have had to do if it did have Wi-Fi. And then third and finally, the thing that really sparked this upgrade was my main local drive that the operating system, Windows, and all that sort of thing is installed on is a tiny SSD. And I think I need to upgrade that. It's a 250 gigabyte SSD, and I think my PC is running quite slow at the moment because it is always full. And it doesn't matter how much I scour through this drive, there's just nothing anymore that I can delete off of it to create some space. If you look on top of the PC back there, I've got an external SSD plugged in that's a 4 terabyte thing. But obviously, I install everything to that these days, but most stuff is the important stuff, the operating system and all that sort of thing, is all on that local. And I think if I could upgrade that and get like a 2 terabyte SSD, that would future-proof me for a very, very long time. And that's what I'm always trying to do. I'm always trying to be future-proofed for quite a while. So that's three major things that would be a benefit to me: is a better SSD, and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which Wi-Fi and Bluetooth is solved by getting a new motherboard. But if I'm getting a new motherboard, I might as well actually get something that's better than what I've got. Like, I've got a B450. So I put the feelers out there on my other social medias, and a lot of people were saying that I should go for an AM5 socket motherboard. But then I learned that would mean my processor and my current RAM would not work anymore, which would also need to be upgraded. So what initially was just upgrade the SSD became upgrade the motherboard, upgrade the RAM, upgrade the processor. And at this point, the only thing remaining of the current PC, right, is going to be the case, the graphics card, and the power supply. It might as well be an entirely new PC. So yeah, that's where we're currently at and what I'm currently looking at doing. I just looked back through my Amazon orders, and it was 4 years ago tomorrow that I built my PC. So my Ryzen 7 3700X, and basically everything in my PC besides my graphics card is 4 years old. My graphics card was the last thing that I upgraded. So I am due an upgrade. It has lasted 4 years. And you've got to remember that it's a business expense at the end of the day. And we'll see about some potentials. Like, there's a real decent chance that, for example, I made some videos about this on TikTok and Instagram. You got to remember, on TikTok, I've got over 500,000 followers and stuff like that. There were some brands that were commenting on my stuff, looking to work with me, so like that could be a move. I know that tech companies are usually pretty up for collabing with people, getting videos out there on their products. So we'll see, I suppose. Yeah, a lot of tech upgrades recently in my room, whether it be lights for the TV, whether it be Philips or Govee or whoever it ends up being, whatever trigger I end up pulling there, or PC components and parts. Another big consideration for me, though, when it comes to the PC upgrades is quietness. I'm still going to need it to be very quiet. I love my PC being quiet, so I've got to be very careful about what I put in it, that it doesn't get loud. But at the end of the day, I don't really play stuff that's that demanding. Like, when I play stuff now, there isn't much that makes my PC struggle. It's just that the performance of the PC struggles sometimes, I think, because of just how full up that local drive is. Sometimes my PC's like, there are 3 kilobytes remaining, you need to go fix it. And I'm like, yeah, probably should. You know, I remember 4 years ago when we built my PC, me and my partner, it was the first time we'd ever done anything like it, and it was terrifying. We spent all night trying to figure it out, because initially because I didn't get my graphics card until like a year or 2 ago, we had to take the graphics card out of my old pre-built, and it didn't have conventional clips because it was like a micro ATX, so I couldn't figure out how to get that out. So like one of my more tech-savvy friends, he finished his shift at Tesco back in the day, and he came over to help us out for real quick. But even still, it took us literally about 6 hours to build the thing. Oh, and Christ, something else that I'm a bit concerned about when it comes to rebuilding is like reinstalling operating systems. Like, ideally, I want to just clone everything so that I boot my PC and just everything that is there now and the way that it works just is exactly the same. And the only thing that is any different is just storage space and speeds that things can run at. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be looking at doing it past April because taxes, but I'm not sure. Anyway, let me go through some of the PC related questions that you guys have asked me, or some of followers on other platforms have asked me. I'm still rocking a 60Hz monitor. Would upgrading to 140Hz, 144Hz really be that noticeable? Okay, so my TV is capable of 120Hz. I've never been so far as 144. I think that after 60, we're definitely in diminishing returns. I know that this is also a topic that people will argue day in and day out upon. Like, I remember the other day I did a video about my gaming TV and it being capable of 120, and people just were like, oh, but it can't do 144 and it can't do 240. And I'm like, most games I don't even let run past 60 because I don't care. I think that 30 to 60 is the biggest jump that is required to be great. Like, 30 to 60 is a brilliant upgrade, right? 60 to 144, I think you'd definitely notice for sure. Like, you would see, be like, oh Christ, this is smooth. But I don't think it would make or break anything. Like, that's how I judge things a lot of the time, is does it make and break decision-making processes? Not for me personally, because I play a lot of old stuff, but I know that for some people, 30 versus 60 is make or break. They will not play a game at 30 frames a second. 60 will be the bare minimum. But as long as it touches 60, that is more than enough for me. One of my favourite things when I first started playing PC stuff, and I don't play PC stuff very frequently, is playing like PS3 and 360 era games that were traditionally like 30 FPS and getting them 60 FPS or above and seeing how cool they could look. I remember being blown away when I played Batman Arkham Asylum, Night City, Origins, all of those, and comparing those versus their console counterparts and just how crazy my PC was capable of making them look and feel. So I think that 60 to 144 Hz will be nice, but I think it also depends upon what you're planning on playing. For example, if I was coming at this from like I play multiplayer games only perspective, I think my answer would be very different. But because I play pretty much solely single player games, I think I'm going to say that it doesn't matter too much. I think that when it comes to single player games, it would be a nice thing to have. I think it's just budget permitting. There are some people that will double the price of their car for a 5% improvement, and they've got the money where they don't care. If you want to double the price of your TV for a 5% improvement, or double the price of your monitor, or whatever, it's all hyperbole. It depends if it's within budget constraints and it's something that you're just being like, yeah, let's throw money at something to make it better. If the question is as basic as is 144 better than 60, yes, 100%. Is it worth the price increase? Depends upon the person and just how much spare money they've got, I do suppose. If you're playing single player games, I think it's not the end of the world. If you're playing multiplayer games, I think it's going to be pretty dramatic. Almost required. I know that with competitive multiplayer, they play a lot of stuff at higher resolutions, higher frame rates, because you're at a disadvantage otherwise, I suppose. What are your thoughts on upgrading just the GPU versus saving entirely for a new build? I think it's really hard to just upgrade singular pieces because often when you upgrade one thing, you end up needing to upgrade more. So, for example, my first upgrade from my original PC I bought 10 years ago with my first 4 paychecks from when I worked at the apprenticeship. So I was being paid £250 a month and I saved up for 4 months to buy a proper gaming PC. And back then, what I thought was a proper gaming PC was a pre-built MSI Micro ATX style case from Curry's. It had a 970 in. Luckily, the 970 was full sized. Everything else in there was probably crap. But that was a hell of an upgrade from whatever I had prior to that. But then I built my own PC back in 2020, and everything in that was brand new, except for the GPU, which I reused from that gaming PC. I just moved across the 970, and then a year or two after that, I took the 970 out and I put the 3080 Ti in. So I think I kind of did the opposite to what this question's suggesting. I built an entirely new PC and then later upgraded the GPU. I think the GPU is probably going to be the thing that you see the most difference of because it's kind of like the powerhouse of the PC, isn't it? Like without it, especially as a gamer, your GPU is the thing that matters. But I also think we're probably approaching diminishing returns. Like for me, I think it's going to be a very long time before I upgrade from a 3080 Ti because what do I need it for? I don't play modern games. Or if I do play a modern game, it's on PS5. So my 3080 Ti will make a game from 2016 look gorgeous, and there's like a 4090 Ti is not going to make a 2016 game look any better than my 1080 Ti, than my 3080 Ti can. My 970 was pretty capable of playing the games that I want to play, because a 970, while still a decade old, was still fine for playing games prior than its release. Like, yeah, it was a crazy upgrade. So I suppose, again, it's sort of budget dependent on how soon you'll upgrade the rest of the things. So, for example, when I upgraded to a 3080 Ti, something else that I had to upgrade was my power supply. Because the 3080 Ti is a bit more of a power drain than a 970, so I had to go from like a 600 watt power supply. I went to a 1000 watt power supply after that because I figured that it would future-proof me for my next upgrade. I think that when I upgrade the rest of my PC, like in the chronicles of this video, and in the future, I probably won't need to upgrade my power supply because it should be capable of handling pretty much whatever I put in it. Especially because, again, I'm not getting another graphics card for quite a while yet. Not unless some company mystically wants to gift me a 4090 or whatever the hell. I'm pretty sure that we're probably due the 50 series at this point because I feel like the 40 series are a couple of years old. I feel like we've missed a generation, if nothing else. And finally, is water cooling actually worth it? Or is a good air cooler just as good for most setups? I'll be real, you might be asking the wrong person. Again, guys, I'm not an expert in PC stuff. I really am not. I'm a big proponent in knowing what you're good at and not trying to speak outside of the lane that you're capable of working best within, and PC stuff is not my lane. But I definitely think that it's not a requirement. I think that water cooling looks cool, but it would give me the fear. I've seen way too many like Linus Tech Tip videos of just things going wrong. If air can do the job just as well as water, or most as well as water, I would prefer to just not have the fear of my water cooling system springing a leak. I just don't think I could do it. I 100% couldn't do it myself. I think that's another one is, I think there's a lot of room for error when it comes to water cooling and building them from the videos that I've watched. Like every time I go through a phase like this, every few years where I get obsessed with PC parts, I watch all of the guys on YouTube that are really smart doing this, and I'm like, yeah, that looks terrifying. I don't want to do that ever. Because I remember it was pretty scary just putting the air cooler on because of how tight that had to be to the motherboard. It felt like it was going to break. So, yeah, it would give me the absolute fear to have water in there and to be putting the water in myself. No. Maybe if like I paid a professional or had like a proper pro build it for me. But no, I would just like to sleep safely, soundly at night, knowing full well there's no water flowing through my PC. even if it does mean that my PC runs a few degrees hotter. And again, my PC in particular probably isn't ever going to run that hot anyway, because I don't use it for that intensive of things. Minecraft. Ark is probably the most intensive thing I ever run on my PC, which is pretty intensive just because of how unoptimized it is. Anyway, I think that'll do. I hope you guys enjoyed the quick Q&A. Talk below about PC parts. I'm probably looking at a B650, definitely, which means I will have to upgrade my RAM, and it will be capable of 120 gigabytes of RAM, so I'm probably going to go at least 64 to double that again, because why not? New processor. It'll be, yeah, there's a lot of new stuff. Anyway, subscribe, bye.